What conspiracy theories do you think are too logical to ignore? This one isn't as serious as most of the ones on here, but I enjoy it and have gotten into many a convo about it. In the 2017 NBA playoffs, a player named Markieff Morris, who at the time played for the Washington Wizards, hurt his ankle in game 1. This was only 11 minutes into the game, and he didn't return. The injury looked like he would be out for a couple weeks and no one expected him to play game 2. But he showed up game 2 and played as if he was never injured. In fact, had his best game statistically of the playoffs to that point. Here's where it gets interesting. Markieff Morris has an identical twin brother named Marcus who also plays in the NBA. His brother was playing for the Pistons, who were eliminated from the playoffs already. The theory is that Marcus played for his brother. Both brothers have the exact same tattoos and don't have any super apparent different traits. Here's the Ringer's breakdown on it. Link. So my dad actually confirmed a popular Reddit conspiracy theory. I told him about the laundry detergent caps have the full line too high on purpose. And he told me this was true. He interned at PG, and they taught him the full line was for the highest level of cleanliness our product can give. You can get away with using much less detergent. Denver Airport being a fallout shelter for the elite. The fact that it went like $1 billion over budget and all the symbolism. $1 billion. 3 billion. 1. Kennedy gets elected. To Kennedy is critical of the CIA, his own VP and military for wanting to turn the Cold War into a hot one and the willingness to perform false flag operations project northwards to do it. 3. Kennedy is shot. 4. His VP takes power. 5. Classified. You missed out the most important part. He bangs Marilyn Monroe. Edit step 2.5. Kennedy bangs millimeters. Pretty sure I saw it here on Reddit at one point, but someone brought up the art trade. That these $1 million art shows individual pieces that go for insanely high prices are just a way for money laundering. Tax write-off even. So a real estate friend of mine told me that if you made $1 million you should get a shitty painting done. Have a mate who happens to be an art critic or evaluator value the piece at $50,000 then donate that piece to charity stating its value. That allows you to claim a deductible of $50,000 towards your taxable income due to your charitable donation. Genius. David Miscavige, the chairman of the Church of Scientology, definitely murdered his wife and is getting off scot-free for it. Him and his wife got into a pretty heated argument in 2007, and she hasn't been seen since. Lawyers hired by David claim she is still alive and devotes 100% of her time to work at the Church of Scientology, which is why she hasn't been seen since August 2007. In 2013, a former member of the church had filed a missing person report that was closed after a few officers had spoken and seen Mrs. Miscavige. Even though there's no evidence whatsoever of this meeting, all missing persons reports now are turned down. Since this investigation is forever closed, Lyra Minnie has had it investigated as well and written letters to Shelley with no response. Before he left the church she wrote letters to Shelley that the church refused to deliver, and when she asked where Shelley was she was told she didn't have clearance to ask that question. The lead cop that was tasked to investigate when Lee filed a missing persons report. Apparently after he came back with the bullshit she's totally fine and just doesn't want to be seen story, Lee found pictures of that cop speaking at a Scientology event. So crooked. Wow, I didn't know this. I thought they had just located her and confirmed that she was safe. She is going to be a prisoner for the rest of her life. I'm confused how Scientology is allowed to get away with this. I get that they have religion status, but a high-ranking member's wife going missing in any other religion would be big news. Amazed that I haven't seen Gary Weblink mentioned. Expose the CIA for assisting in drug trafficking and commit suicide with 2 bullets to the head. Worst case of suicide I've ever seen. Reminds me of the dude in India who was stabbed in the back 12 times with a knife and the police ruled it as a suicide. This one is small and local, but still too insane to ignore, and just came up today. Just recently, our small suburban town's favorite gas station went out of business. Everyone went there. The guy who ran it was the mayor. He retires and sells the property after an issue with the ground underneath the gas pumps. They tear down the gas pumps and keep the garage. Mavis Tire bought the property and opened a new store. A few days after the Mavis opens, someone posts a picture on Facebook of an intersection at a road near it with nails all over the road. The guy theorizes that a box of nails fell off of a construction truck. The police come clean it up, and it seems all is well. Fast forward a few days later, and people are commenting on the post that they're finding nails in their car tires. Not just from that intersection. People jokingly say maybe it was the new Mavis guys throwing nails around, but nothing really happens. Several weeks later, people have been posting day in and day out pictures of nails in their car tires. My dad took my car into the Mavis in question about 3 weeks ago, and they found a nail inside of the right front tire. I noticed that it was driving sort of funny, but never that my tire was on the verge of exploding. I jokingly said people have been saying you guys have just been going around throwing nails all over the place, trying not to laugh at how insane it sounded to say out loud. The guy behind the counter said nothing but yeah with a weird smirk. Over 50 people have posted on the town Facebook that their cars have had nails in their tires. My mom is driving my car now because her car has a nail in the tire. It's been almost 3 months. I'll post updates if anyone is interested. Edited totally might not be Mavis. There isn't any proof right now, and there are other possible reasons for the nails, but the timing is too perfect to ignore. Edit 2 apparently this is a huge deal in foreign countries. Edit 3 holy shit this blew up. PFFT it's not even a joke, it's the truth it sounds like. It makes no sense. Nails. An investigation is launched, and they find a bunch of nails inside of the shop like box top, and unopened, can't they lose business? The Denver airport theory. I mean the capstone of the building literally has the Freemason logo on it. There's some weird ass apocalypse murals on the walls. The runways look like a swastika, and there's a 50-foot tall horse statue with red glowing eyes. I mean seriously, who the duck designed that place? Building the airport cost $3 billion more than expected, and the labor was piecemealed out through countless contractors. So nobody who built it knows the full scope of it. Oh, and that 50-foot tall horse statue with red glowing eyes killed its creator. Dire is a weird place. US intelligence conducting organized blackmail operations out of Epstein's Island. The prosecutor handling Epstein's old case was told to back off and go easy because Epstein was intelligence. Acosta's departure from the administration confirmed that this was not just a rumor. So as an American, I would really like to know exactly who was blackmailing who, how far it extended, and what political decisions were affected. Trader Joe's makes their parking lots small intentionally to make it seem like it's more popular. Mike Bloomberg is a ploy by YouTube to get us all to get YouTube Premium to stop seeing his ads. Some torture devices such as the Iron Maiden were made up hundreds of years later, so people would think, well, a regular hanger ain't too bad then. This is literally true as far as the Iron Maiden. I'm pretty sure one of the Simon Whistler things talked about this like last week. With all the scientists in the world, there has to be at least one secret lab on this planet where they have cloned a human. Dr. Claw is Inspector Gadget. Edit. Dr. Claw is human inspector and Inspector Gadget is obviously a younger clone of him. Nutley NJ, where Martha Stewart was born, has a butcher shop every other corner. How much meat does one small blue collar town need? Suspicious. This gives me hot fuzz vibes, lol. Let me introduce you to One Capirsa, the theory that Oscar-winning director Bong Joon-ho made a sequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with his 2012 film Snowpiercer. My dog did not go to Doggy Disneyland because he won a lifetime ticket for being a good boy. I think that he in fact died. That karma on Reddit really does nothing. That's exactly the thing I hate about a Reddit. Karma makes being active on Reddit a competition. A competition with no reward. Our phones and all the apps on them are listening to conversation. I'm super anti-conspiracy theory, but this has happened to me way too many times in the last 2 years. I impulse shop really badly. I carry cash for the explicit purpose of I can use this guilt-free for an impulse purchase. 2 years ago I bought high-end lipstick with cash in a store. After doing zero research on the brand, next day I had ads for it despite never even previously hearing of that company before. I had only talked with a sales associate about the brand for a while. 6 months later a very similar thing happened when I switched hair care products to very specific brand. Later that night I had ads for their company which I had never heard of or looked up pre or post purchase. 8 months ago I ordered a C-idea I had never heard of at a bar in New York City. Didn't research the company or anything about it. Not even 2 hours after I left the restaurant I had ads for that brand of C-idea on my Facebook. There's easily 5-7 more times I could think of, but these are the ones that bother me the most because I'm positive the transactions were all in cash. I had never looked up the product before, and I had very targeted specific ads from those exact companies less than a day later on most of my social media. Edit to add, I know how location services work and that's how advertisers get a lot of data because of where you go and shop. But shopping at a huge store with hundreds of brands, Ulta, Sephora, Masses, etc. What are the odds I got an ad for the exact products I bought? Like genuinely, they weren't on sale, weren't researched. The sales reps didn't help me find them. Same thing with the bar. They carry dozens of brands of booze and specialty beers and stuff. What are the collective odds I got a multiple specific ads for the exact brand of C-idea I ordered off of menu of 50 plus drinks? That's the weird part. If I had just gotten generalized targeted ads for those stores or random products in those stores, fine. Or if I had gotten ads for stuff I had bought before I'd researched a lot, also fine. But the odds of 3 ads for highly specific brands items within a day of me buying those items from a large broad store in cash is just too much. Even the most advanced algorithm couldn't have predicted a spontaneous 100 Lorac MAC lipstick purchase with the only data being this person is in Ulta and has googled Urban Decay. I should have before. I like that people always are worried that Epstein was murdered instead of suicide. What if this was a ploy to cover up that he just escaped or paid his way out of prison? Some people had to talk about Fight Club, otherwise it wouldn't exist. Tyler Durden instructing people to not talk about Fight Club isn't aimed at getting them to stop talking about Fight Club, it's teaching them to break rules. Or at least, that's how I always thought of it. The FBI keeps posting questions like this to see what the public knows. Edit, why did this do well? That Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson are Michael Jackson's actual parents. Link, that's why he was the talent in the Jackson family and why there were rumors that he was Evan Ross's father. They both looked like Diana. Smokey would have been 18 and Diana 14 years old when Michael was born. So Berry Gordy arranged to have the kid given to his old boxing buddy and fellow musician from Chicago, Joe Jackson, who he would fund, leading to the formation of the Jackson 5. Joe had a big family where Michael would get everything he needs while training him to be an entertainer, and Motown could protect their image by taking the child out of the picture. It turns out the kid is a talent, and as we all know the Jackson 5 make it to Motown. But even before that there were several documented instances of Diana Ross in Gary, Indiana, such as at the school talent show where the Jackson 5 performed. She has said multiple times on live television that Michael is her baby child, says she's doing it all for him, and joked about him playing her son in a future movie. She has also said publicly she was in love with Smokey Robinson growing up, living on the same street as him in Detroit, which is odd because he had a girlfriend during that time who he later married. Diana also changed high schools around the time Michael was conceived, when she would have gotten pregnant. She was going to Cass Tech to study home economics, and Smokey also enrolled in an engineering college around this time. Because they were soon to be parents and Motown hadn't broke big yet, a decade later the Jackson 5 auditioned for Motown in Detroit, then did a second performance at a Motown get-together at Berry's house. And Michael has stated that at that point Diana told them she wanted to take special interest in their career. There's a movie called Double Platinum which stars Diana Ross and is about how she gave up her kid for her career and later reveals to the kid she's her mother when she sees that the kid has talent. Then goes on to help her with her career, which would parallel the real life story with Michael. Her daughter in the movie also wears a dress that has the same design as the shirt Michael wore for Billie Jean at Motown 25. It's written by Michael in his autobiography Moonwalk that he and the Jacksons lived with Diana Ross in Hollywood Hills when the Jackson 5 first signed to Motown and moved to LA. And her and Michael used to go out almost every day. Just the two of them. This would have been when Diana Ross revealed to Michael she's his mom. He would have been about 10 years old, and that's why he became quiet and shy from then on. This wouldn't be her only time doing this. When she had a daughter with Berry Gordy, she didn't tell her who her father was until she was 13. Smokey Robinson also stated when he was leaving the Larry King interview shortly after Michael passed away that one of his fondest memories of Michael was when he used to go golfing at the age of 10 or 11 with him and Bobby Taylor, who is said to have discovered the Jackson 5, even though their first album at Motown was presented by Diana Ross. This was also what Michael meant in the song Billie Jean when this happened much too soon. She called me to her room. Diana was the one who said I'm the one. But the kid is not my son. She meant I'm your mother, but you're not my son. You're a Jackson now. Diana Ross is Billie Jean. Diana plays the singer Billie Holiday in Lady Sings the Blues, which came out a few years before The Wiz with MJ. This is also what the song Dirty Diana is about. It's about Diana Ross, the groupie who seduces Smokey Robinson, who she grew up on the same street as, conceiving Michael. Then there's the song Who Is It, which is about a mystery person who abandoned Michael, and in the music video he holds a card that says Diana. The song Wanna Be Startin' Something also talks about how, if you can't feed your baby, then don't have a baby, and again refers to the mystery Billie Jean character. He references Ain't No Mountain High Enough in the song Leave Me Alone, and says don't you come walking begging back, mama. He also references Ain't No Mountain High Enough in the songs Baby Be Mine, Speechless, and Keep the Faith. This is all also why you see a weird sexual dynamic between Michael Jackson and Diana Ross, but you will never actually see a picture or video of them making out. Recently a video surfaced of Diana Ross singing You Are Not Alone to Katherine Jackson, just like how she probably used to sing Ain't No Mountain High Enough to Michael when he was living with her. This is seen in the aforementioned movie Double Platinum as well. Diana sings her lost daughter to sleep with a famous song. And in TMZ's video the last time we saw Joe Jackson, an old senile Joe says I raised Michael. He's my son and Quincy Jones knows better. I don't talk about it. No way. He's defending the supposed fact that Michael is his son for a seemingly unknown reason. And even in past interviews he always emphasized he's a Jackson. After MJ's death, Joe, when interviewed, said he was doing great. Meanwhile Smokey Robinson went on the Larry King show and praised MJ as an artist. This theory explains why Michael not only looks like Diana Ross Link and has the same features Link and eyes as her Link, but also explains why his facial structure looks like Smokey's Link. Their profiles and ears are completely identical. Link, and why he was a musical prodigy who had the stage presence and songwriting abilities of his real parents Diana, Smokey, Michael are the only three musicians besides the Beatles who have 2 stars each on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, one for being a member of their original groups, and one to celebrate their success as a solo artist, as well as having a very soft voice, which both Smokey and Diana and Evan Ross have in common. Here Link, you can see how much different his eyes looked from his brothers, and how much they look like Ross eyes. Now you can see why his personality developed the way it did. It's why he acted like an orphan, and called himself Peter Pan, and built Neverland to help disadvantaged kids. Why he isolated himself from his family, and could never manage to have a normal relationship with women. It absolutely explains why he had such a severe identity crisis. And it explains why Diana Ross is second to Katherine Jackson in his will regarding who would take care of his children. And why Joe Jackson has been known to dislike Diana Ross. At Michael Jackson's public memorial, the first person that comes out is Smokey Robinson reading a letter from Diana Ross, who writes that she's mourning so hard that she cannot attend the memorial, and that Michael was part of the fabric of her life. When Smokey speaks about MJ later, he calls him his little brother, which would imply blood relative. In the movie Hitsville, The Making of Motown, Berry Gordy jokes with Smokey about how some of the babies that the groupies were having were his, that MJ reminded him of a little Smokey. Also, the movie An American Dream was about the Jackson 5 and world being propaganda to reinforce the cover-up story. So, it wasn't that Michael was ever trying to look like Diana Ross like people thought. He was actually displaying features and mannerisms that he inherited from her. In one of the clips below she says he has the same features, skin tone, and bone structure as her. Now you might say, well, Janet looks a lot like MJ, but growing up in his shadow she adopted many of his mannerisms and used makeup and plastic surgery to replicate his appearance like LaToya did, but their vanity was merely deception. Joe and Berry branded and marketed the Jacksons a certain way to make Michael seem related, such as with the matching outfits and afros. But if you look at their features, it's clear the only similarity to Michael is the way they smile a learned trait. MJ has much more defined features and is rail thin like Diana Ross, and his nose chin link match Smokey's. Now it's clear why Joe told him he had a fat nose and singled him out so much with the abuse. MJ does a photoshoot with Catherine, Joe, Diana, and Smokey Link. Diana Ross calls MJ her child, says she's doing it all for him. Link. Skip to 1556. Diana Ross jokes about Michael Jackson playing her son in a movie. Link. The intro downplays her role in starting his career, an important part of the cover-up. Diana Ross confesses her relationship with Smokey Robinson, which would have been when MJ was conceived and when Smokey was dating Claudette. Link. Skip to 840. Diana Ross jokes about her and MJ having the same facial features and bone structure. He could be part of my family. Link. Diana Ross calls Michael Jackson her baby. Link. Smokey Robinson recounts how MJ used to go golfing with him and Bobby Taylor as a kid. Link. Evan Ross says MJ was like a brother to him and that Diana was a mother figure to Michael. Link. TTPS Yao 2. BPZ7 Sci-Fi 0. Joe Jackson defends the fact that Michael is his son when confronted by paparazzi. Link. Smokey Robinson reads Diana Ross's letter at the beginning of Michael Jackson's memorial. Link. This theory is from a YouTube channel called An American Scheme. Link. I also created a subreddit with further info on the topic called Are an American Scheme. McDonald's shake machines are never actually down. The night crew people are just too lazy to clean it.